Chris Hansen from To Catch a Predator.
Yeah.
Turns out to be a predator himself.
Chris Hansen, if you haven't heard of him, is the granddaddy of hunter phenomena online. Which, if that all sounds like gibberish to you, is the art of catching child by making them think they're meeting up with a child, when really they're meeting up with a camera crew of people that are going to confront them and get them arrested.
No, please, sir! Please, sir! Get on the ground! Let me see your hand. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
Yay. Personally speaking, I couldn't imagine getting into the character of pretending to be a child to lure a child. Like, I feel like you'd have to have some demons to do something like that. A lot of these channels online, they're fake and they're just clickbait. If you watch them, it's really poor acting and you can tell from a mile away that they're fake.
So whatever you think of our relationship, we love each other.
Like, but not Chris Hansen. His show was the real deal. But despite being the first ever predator hunter, Chris Hansen has been accused of predatory behaviour numerous times throughout his career. We ignored it when it was the perps on his show because, you know, they're filthy, disgusting.
The cat, the whipped cream. You want the girl to have with a cat and use whipped cream? What? Explain.
But when it was the fans of his show and victims of actual abuse accusing Chris of this, well, things got serious quickly, didn't they? In today's video, we're going to be looking at Chris Hansen's behaviour over the years and decide fully well, is Chris Hansen really a big scary poop man? As always, thank you so much for being here and supporting the channel and watching the content. I really appreciate you guys being here and I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, without further ado, let's get stuck into this. Back in 1981, Chris Hansen started his career with NBC and eventually made it all the way from reporter to broadcast journalist on a television show called Dateline NBC. He covered big stories like the Columbine High School massacre and to name a few, but it was his famous Dateline series To Catch a Predator where he achieved his mainstream acclaim. And we all know why. It was a hilarious show. It was blurring the lines between a legal crime show and a reality TV show. The show featured hidden camera sting operations throughout America where a Home Alone decoy would tempt a predator to the house and then Chris Hansen would confront them before being arrested by the police. The show got people talking and it always did well in the ratings, but the issue was that a lot of media commentators were saying that the show was deeply exploitative and was doing more harm than good. And it's a tough one because I myself enjoyed the show. Who doesn't love seeing a creepy child snatcher get instant karma? Like, what's not to love about that? But maybe the Good Eaters were onto something. The show was cancelled in 2008 and this was because the Texas sting operation failed miserably. It led to an assistant district attorney, Louis Conrad, himself in the head and a $105 million lawsuit from his family. And just to top it all off, all 23 of the creepy perps filmed on the show had all their charges dropped due to insufficient evidence. Chris Hansen himself played a massive part in this as he orchestrated an NBC camera crew to sit outside the guy's house to try get a soundbite of the arrest. He also gave Lewis his private number to the police so they could call him and try convince him to come outside, but it only made him more distressed.
972 524 2849.
The first time Dateline, in its 11 Catch a Predator episodes, had gone to a suspect's home. It was a decision that would lead to Bill Conrad's. Former Murphy police officer Sam Love says the decision was made at the suggestion of NBC's Chris Hansen.
The cat was out of the bag. Even South Park began to take the piss out of Chris Hansen.
Wait a minute, this ain't no house. What are you doing? Chris Hansen! Oh no, it's a setup, I knew it! Sir, why don't you take a seat right over there? Now everyone's gonna know I'm a Oh! Oh, not again.
NBC eventually sacked Chris after they found out he was having an affair with one of their young reporters, and so between the years of 2013 to 15, Chris was getting no work.
There's something you need to know. I'm Chris Hansen, and you are going to help me catch predators again. Go ahead, have a seat right over there.
Using the best part of his completely tattered image, Chris Hansen announced plans to release an independent television show called Hansen vs. Predator, a spin-off to the original series. But there was a catch. Chris Hansen's fan base were the ones that had to raise $400,000 in order to make it a reality. They made 89 grand, and Chris promised promotional shirts, t-shirts, mugs, you name it, vials of still warm salty tears from the predators, anything to get this show made. Chris was promising it. And in the end, Chris got the show on the Crime Watch Daily.
Who do we have tonight? Who's this? I'll get to that in a minute. Who are you?
Now there's just the issue with the repayment. So 4 years after the initial Kickstarter launch, and 3 years after it was broadcast on TV, the donors still weren't given what they paid for. If you go to the Kickstarter page, there's actually a comment as recent as 2 years ago with still upset backers saying they didn't get anything. But that doesn't matter because some people got their gifts. But even that was a disaster. Chris Hansen was arrested in January 2019 after the company that made all the merchandise for the Kickstarter reported to the police a string of dodgy checks dating back to summer 2017, not to mention Chris owed $250k in taxes, $60k in American Express, and over $1 million to his mortgage lender. And you're probably wondering how the did he end up broke considering he was with NBC for over 20 years and Crime Watch for a few years? Well, the fact of the matter is, Chris Hansen is a notorious womanizing coke fiend. Money burns easily in that environment.
Would you take $4 million to be on To Catch a Predator? I would take about $700 back because Chris Hansen was on my podcast and he tried to run up a bunch of hotel bills with spa stuff. Extra spa treatments and stuff like that. So Chris Hansen tried to fuck me on about $730, getting rose petals and my.
So just 3 months after being arrested for fraudulent checks, Chris Hansen joined the wonderful world of YouTube in April 2019. That channel has since been deleted by YouTube for abusing the copyright system, but he does have another channel he made in October 2019. Oh, you're probably thinking, whoa, you went a bit quick there, go back a bit, what was that about a deleted channel? Yeah, well, you heard right, Chris Hansen being on this platform has had a constant veil of controversy surrounding him.
Thanks to our video and the wonderfully kind, welcoming community that we like to cultivate here, Chris's channel went from like 2,000 subs to now 20,000 subs in just a couple of weeks. And much to my surprise, it looks like Chris blocked my main channel, Eddie's main channel, and our podcast channel from commenting on his channel.
At first he was welcomed by the To Catch a Predator fandom because apparently he was going to be making content specifically for them. After constant updates and promises for months on end, Chris finally delivered to his fanbase who were dying for some content. And guess what? He tried to fleece them $39 just to watch it. I wish I was joking. At this point, the TCAP community had been milked dry by Chris and they were no longer supporting his endeavours. It was beginning to sour and Chris Hansen and his assistant began to strike videos with any merited critique of his behaviour and content.
Chris Hansen's failed assistant has recently issued 2 copyright takedowns on my content. Both videos of mine consisting of criticizing his childish behavior and his actions that go against YouTube's terms of service. Even now, he has yet again struck down Baked Salmon's channel. This recently happened because he knows he can abuse the copyright system on YouTube, and he will continue to do so against the people that have criticized him.
Things went from bad to worse for Chris when he began to strike any channels that had any mention of To Catch a Predator lore. We're talking reviews, we're talking reenactments, we're talking dramatic readings, commentary, anything that falls under fair use, you name it, it was nuked, gone, dead, buried, bye bye.
Nobody wants to see somebody on YouTube crying and but it's because it's stressful. It's very stressful when things like this happen. My channel's in danger, you guys. It's in danger, and I don't know how much longer it'll be around. Because Chris Hansen is going around. Chris Hansen, can you believe it, you guys? Chris Hansen is going around putting in false copyright strikes on as many channels as he can that have anything to do with To Catch a Predator, you know?
But just when it seemed like all hope was lost, Chris stumbled upon the holy grail of lol cows. I'm a banana! Onision. So this saga began with Chris Hansen grilling outspoken YouTubers that called Onision out from the very beginning in June 2011, and they essentially connected the dots for him, doing his job. Chris again promised to help the victims involved and get justice, but nothing ever came of it. In fact, the one piece of evidence from the victims that included a laptop that could have helped the case had to be thrown out because Chris Hansen never gave it to the FBI despite promising to do so. After months of constant updates and sensationalist videos to drum up press and views, Chris Hansen sold the documentary rights to the Discovery Plus network. Good guy, Chris. Oh god, you're just such an impeccable stand-up guy. Evidently, it became apparent what Chris Hansen's intentions were from the very start.
I don't need friends, they disappoint me.
The best way to describe the documentary is a 3-part series of Chris Hansen metaphorically sucking his own.
I think when he joined YouTube in 2006, people were overwhelmingly supportive of him being on the platform. It wasn't until Chris Hansen's YouTube story that the overall dialogue started to change.
Chris did a lot of in this documentary through the misrepresentation and emotional manipulation, but above all that, what he did that was beyond disgusting was he shared the victim stories of people that requested not to have it shared. So someone that prides themselves on helping victims and catching predators went behind the victims' backs and shared their stories on national television, all for a bit of coin. Like, what? Chris failed to mention any of the targeted harassment campaigns that he was behind to silence those that didn't agree with him, which included doxing several people, including 2 YouTubers.
But then he began posting my birthday, my city, and soon enough, my home address.
It pains me to say it, as someone that was a fan of the original series, but Chris Hansen is not the person the community thought he was. Chris Hansen is an opportunistic predator that exploited the very people that he promised to protect and entertain. The very people that kept him relevant all these years were used as tools to revive his dead career and as a cash cow to feed his beyond his means lifestyle. And this is where I'm going to end today's video. I'm sad, really sad that this is what this has come to, but at the end of the day, what can you do? Chris Hansen is a greedy womanizing coke fiend and there's nothing we can do about that. He's just going to continue to milk his audience, and I for one will not be a part of that. If you get a chance, leave a like, subscribe, whatever, you know the drill, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.